Crafty Babes, Dre here. I'm going to show you what's going on so far in my 26 Christmas Faves album that I'm doing here for 2022. And I want to first let you know I've got a previous video of my prep and plan, which just talks a little bit about my plan for this year and how I've prepped up until that point. And I have some pages completed now, and I have a little bit of an extra, kind of a little extra thing that I'm going to be doing in my album. I talked about in my previous video that I'm combining a few of my favorite ways to document December. And so I'm not only doing, just Christmas in general, I'm doing 26 of my faves, which correlates to 26 letters of the alphabet because I'm also doing alpha style, as well as jotting down some weekly memories. So here we go. Let's take a look inside. This is my intro page for the whole entire album. So this kind of basically lays the groundwork for like what the project is, kind of utilizing the colors that I'm going to be using in this album. And during this video, I'm not going to talk about product really, unless I feel like it's really important. For the most part, I'm going to be using issue number 27 printables from Crafty Babe magazine, Felicity Jane, Ivy collection, and Coco from last year. In addition to other older things I have in my stash, I will probably end up using some In a Creative Bubble and Studio Calico cards when they come out in December 1st. So depending on when you watch this, I have a small Christmas stash. That's kind of what I'm going to be playing with. But if you have a question about anything specifically, feel free to drop a comment and I will direct you to the right place. So here I've got my intro opening page, and now I don't do foundation pages, but what I really enjoy doing is creating like little intro pages, warm up projects to kind of get myself in the mood for, the Christmas project. It requires a definite level of commitment, that is for sure. So what I've done is, previous to any of the videos and deciding what I was going to do, I made myself a list of A to Z of my favorite things. So I basically just jotted down in my notes, A to Z, right? And then I kind of started thinking about all the things that I would normally love to document. And I took some of my previous items from previous projects, because for the last 2 or 3 years, I've done 25 December faves. So I've got these faves. My faves don't really change, right? But a couple of them shift, So I made the list from A to Z and I started filling it in. And then as I came across like 2 things I wanted to document that maybe started with the same letter, I would try to find a different way to say that, to utilize it within a different letter. I can't give you an exact example of how I did that, but for example, if I just had to, like music and movies, I just combine those because they kind of, they're going to be multiple pages anyway. And it does not mean that I'm only going to have 26 pages in here. There might be, my birthday falls in the month of December, so I always want to document, things about myself in that year. And so that might be 1 page, but around the house, that might be 3 pages because I'm already starting to document the decorations around here. And that's always like a pre-December thing. But when I get the tree decorated, now that's going to be another thing. And that might come under the tree. But, I could have 2 pages. I could have the tree upstairs and the tree downstairs, So I'm not limiting myself to 26 pages, but I am giving myself a guide for the things I want to make sure get on my list, things I make sure I document, things I make sure I take photos of. So this is just basically, okay, now this is a little bit of a deeper dive into what the project is. I was just playing with paper. I really, not a super duper fan of this page. It's just very basic. There's nothing spectacular. It's fine. I love it. It's all good. But I love these kinds of pages because they're not meant to be masterpieces. They're meant to kind of get you warmed up. I've talked a lot about warm up crafts, and this could definitely be one of them. So coming back in here, I'm now starting, I don't know which order this is all going to happen in. I think I want these next pages that I'm going to talk about to be up front so that they're easy for me to get to, and that all the A to Z pages will be at the end. So what I've done here is now created kind of like a month, like another intro. Listen, it's another intro page, let's just be honest, because I like kind of fussing with my supplies, and I'm kind of using these warm-up crafts to get used to my supplies, trying to figure out the colors that go really well together, because not, you know, even though I've curated a kit, it doesn't mean that every single green is the exact same green. I have a lot of different tones of the same colors, a lot of different hues. So that's kind of driving some of these projects, and just wanting to make sure that, you know, I know how these things all work together. So the light's leaving me. So I'm fussing with the lights a little bit here. So maybe that's a little bit brighter. So here I used a combination of stamps and die cuts, and really, you know, just kind of playing with a lot of stuff. And again, warm-up craft, but it introduces, and I used this calendar card from Felicity Jane to kind of give the reader, I don't know, kind of an idea that we're moving into some sort of calendar situation. Now here is that calendar situation. So I, in the past, have done weekly in planner, you know, planner style pages like this for my December documenting, because it was just easier for me to like break things down into weekly chunks, which is how I do my memory keeping anyway. I really, really, really like that as I looked through some of my older projects. And I wanted to kind of give you a little bit of a permission slip here to look through your older projects instead of always looking for someone else's projects to inspire you. If you had fun doing a December project in a certain style with a certain format, revisit that, because you want this to be easy peasy for you, and you want it to be enjoyable so that you stick with it. So I made this template. It's just a 8-column template, and I only made the lines and the days of the week, and then I went through and I glued them back to back, so there's no in-betweens. I'm not putting pages or documenting things in between. This is strictly it's just going to be a place for me to jot down things that are not on my A to Z list that go on during the month. So let's just say, for example, on Saturday the 3rd, I've watched 3 Hallmark movies, and I might jot them down here. We might go to the movies on this day. I might jot that down. I might write down that Marshall had a friend over, or that, you know, something with one of the kids, or something like that. But those things don't necessarily get a page. They're not necessarily on my A to Z list, but I still want to document them. So I'm going to use this space as a little bit of, like, maybe on a Friday night when I know that I'm going to be having a heavy crafty Saturday morning and afternoon, I might come in here and start filling this in with words and stamps and small die cuts and little things to kind of help me warm up. And then I can zoom through some photos that that I've got printed for that week, or not even for that week. Like I said, I'm not doing the A to Z thing in a date order. So it's weird. I'm kind of like, I've made a list, I'm doing a calendar, I'm doing pages that are non-chronological. So in my brain, it all works. So do not feel like you have to take this approach, because it is a little bit on the crazy side. But I have never not finished a December daily, so I have confidence in myself. If you are not one that has ever finished, or you kind of get puttered out, toward the end, I would not recommend like throwing 3 types of formats at yourself. But this is just one option. You could easily make something like this, use something that you already have, use planner pages, use the Heidi Swap storyline planner books, whatever you have, and you can use this as your only format. You can jot things down for every day, you can jot down stories, but do what works best for you. So I've got all of these. I came in here with a Carrie Bradford stamp and my date stamper, and I stamped all the days after I had already had them all glued together. And then after this will be some other, all my A to Z projects. This is actually a project I did for issue number 27 using Carrie Bradford stamps. And so it's kind of just going to float. It's going to float. Like maybe I have one of my things on my A to Z list that's just one page. I might do it on the left-hand page and use this as the right-hand page. So it's going to float around. This also is going to float around. This is a page that I did for Spreading Christmas Cheer. This was Kelly Bang's November. Wait, was it December? Yeah, November. She's not doing a kit for November. Sorry, she's not doing a kit for December. This was her November kit. And it was just all about Elf. So this was the page I did for her design team. And that's what I've created so far. I've got one page that is kind of halfway done and another page that I have just barely started to work on and lay out. But I also wanted to show you how I'm organizing my photos because I feel like that's really important to make sure it doesn't get lost in the shuffle, because I know that the photo part of this is like half the battle. So for me, doing the A to Z, I've already got some photos printed out because I've already started documenting the things that are on my list, because they're not necessarily only December things. Like there are things like hot chocolate that I'm going to have multiple photos of because I have hot chocolate multiple times. But hot chocolate's on the list. And so I can take what I have so far and start making things. These are just some extras that I have in here because I've already used, like sometimes I print different sizes. I'll print a small size and a large size of one thing so that I have options for how I'm going to document that thing. And then I just use them in other projects or not. But if you follow me on Instagram, you may have already seen this, but I made a reel of how I made these little A to Z organizers. So I basically just am using a plastic CD pouch. I trimmed off the little flap that goes in the front. And then I made a little stamp. Here, let me actually focus in on this. I stamped and punched out every letter. And then I punched out with a little bit larger punch the teal circle out of a pattern paper from issue 27. And then I hand wrote the prompt for that letter. And then I stapled all three of them just to the front. And then as you can see, I did like A, B, C, D, E, F like that so that I can easily kind of locate where they are. And I did every single one A to Z. And now what's happening is when I print photos, like my goal is to print photos every week. Probably Friday night is usually when I get, kind of corral all my photos, make sure that the ones I want to use are edited, get them onto a template, print them Saturday morning. So what I'm going to do is once I have photos that fit within one of these categories, I will just pop it into the day that it corresponds with, or not the day, the letter that it corresponds with. So right now I have these two, of course, are the same photo, but I actually have another hot chocolate picture in a different mug that I will include. So for something like this, I might not do this page until I've got like 3 or 4 photos maybe. So I might hold off on doing H for a while. It will eventually go in alphabetical order in my book, but I'm not starting with A and like not moving on to B or C until I have A done. That's not how I'm going to work it. I'm going to work it like right now. Again, this is another one for oily scents. This is one oily scent that I like during Christmas time, but it's not the only one. So I might take a picture of another combination that I like, and then I might do the page. Same thing for yummy treats. Like this isn't the only yummy treat I'm going to have. So there's just different things that I might do. Like I know for sure that I'm only going to have one picture of the deliveries because it's like a picture that kind of happens. The opportunity happens multiple times, but I only need one photo of it to tell the story. This every December might be a compilation of leftover photos because I kind of sometimes run into where I just have a bunch of kind of random photos. And this might be a good place for traditions. I have a fireplace picture, which is pretty cool, that I took this morning, and I might just document that because it was the first time we turned the fireplace on, and you know, I could just easily document that, have my F letter, and be good to go. There's just a couple other things here that could, you know, have multiple photos, but then there could be another one where, you know, if we go down to our historic downtown and take pictures, they always have such fun evening lights out, that we just might, you know, go down there, take some photos. I might have just one picture of the light that I like a lot that tells the story, and that might be it. But this is, and then I'm keeping them in this Gen D mini that we picked, her and I picked this retro red together, and she used the buffalo check, of course, as like my little signature. So it was a part of another part of the collab that her and I did for November and the holiday collection that we worked on together. We have the planner caddies that I keep in my drawers right now, but I'm sure you've seen them. They are sold out, so hope you got yours. But anyway, that's how I'm storing my photos, and I think this is just going to be a great plan for this year. I'm really excited. I've already started working on a page about the decorations, and I've already started working on a little piece of the music part of my music and movies section. And yeah, I'm really excited. December is right around the corner. Like I see it. It's right there. It's on the calendar. It's this week. So I hope that you guys are getting yourselves ready. I hope you're also not giving yourself too much pressure, but giving yourself a lot of grace. This is a big project, and you just do what you can do. And I hope that you're all enjoying the season, and we will talk really soon. And again, let me know if you have any questions, pop them in the comments and I'll answer. Thanks so much for being here. I'll talk to you soon. Bye.